my big headphones. I gotta get the smaller earbuds. Okay. Good evening and welcome to Get Awesome with your hosts, Jen. I'm Jen Drakes, the original goddess, and with
I'm
me
Katie
is
Yates, Coach Katie. I am your ULA coach, and I'm here to help you live ULA.
all right. And this is the first edition of the Get Awesome show where Katie and I come together to really work with you in a somewhat workshop approach. I think is the way this show is going to evolve. As the first show, obviously it's not going to be quite in the vision that we want, but as it evolves it will definitely start to get a presence and a frame of mind that's really guided by you guys. So the more you get engaged, the more you get involved and work with us, the more you will guide how this show goes. So we're going to move organically. We really are. We have some things planned out, but we want it to be a show that moves you, not just moves us or puts us in your face every couple twice a month, but we want it to move you. So welcome to the Get Awesome show where we are going to be ooh la la awesome. So Katie, take it from here and guide us on some things, some housekeeping and that sort of stuff. So let's go.
Well, the idea is that we will meet with you all twice a month, the first Wednesday and the last Wednesday. Our first Wednesday is called our inspiration call. That's where we're going to talk about a topic, give you some suggestions, maybe give you homework. And the homework will always sort of be in the link. We strongly encourage you to do the homework for that week. And then on the last Wednesday, that's your accountability call. And that's where we will go over your homework, answer any questions you have. And of course, if you have questions between the first call and the second call, you can always reach out to us because we will be more than happy to help you and guide you and offer suggestions or maybe some things to think about.
And I'm going to jump in there, Katie, just for a second, because the way to reach out is through our Facebook group. So we have a Get Awesome Facebook group, and it's really going to be the building of the community for you to get help if you want to, any homework we give, if you want to post your homework, if you have questions about the homework, if you want guidance or any piece of it that you want us to explore, a bit more in the show or even on the group, we will do that. So that is really your way. So any who have not joined the Facebook group, it is public right now, but at some point it will go private. But for now, it is indeed public. So just jump in, find it on Facebook, join us and get involved. Sheila, I see that you are on the thing. Thank you for joining us. How are you, darling? Thank you so much for joining us. So continue, Katie. I just wanted to acknowledge those who are on the chat.
Oh yeah, always. I try to do that on all my lives. When you jump in, say hi to us so we know that you're watching and that you're joining us and that you're looking forward to making 2021 an awesome year. Our sort of theme tonight, or our topic tonight, is a year in review. And I want to start out with a verse from the Bible, which says, "Teach us to number our days that we may gain a heart of wisdom." And that's Psalm 90, verse 12. And so one of the tricks of the trade is to think of your life as, each year of your life as like marbles. And so if the average woman in the US lives to 81, the idea is, and I'll show you mine, right, is to take 81, you can use marbles or pebbles or whatever floats your boat, right? I have these, these like little things that you put in flower displays or pots or plants or something. I had those, so that's what I used. So you put, and there are marbles in here someplace. So you put one marble. I'm doing this on my phone, so I'm trying to figure out where to hold it. You put one marble in a glass or a vase for each year that you've lived. You start out with 81 marbles total. So you put one marble for each year that you've already lived in one glass, and then you have your remaining marbles in another glass. And I know that looks like there's a few, but there are a lot of like the smaller marbles on the bottom. So this just sort of gives you like a visual representation of how many, this is how many I've lived, right? And this is how many years I have left. So I don't want to waste them. So it just, and I keep these sitting out at my desk as sort of a visual reminder every day that I still have a lot of years left, but I don't have forever left. So I want to make the most of the time that I've got left. So one of the homework, which you will have, is called to do a year in review. And so why do you want to do one of those?
Why don't you want to do one of those?
Right. But you know that there are people
don't get me started, Katie.
I know, but you know that there are people out there that are saying, okay, 2020 was such a sucky year, right? Why do I even want to look back on 2020? I just want to put that in the past and forget about it. But this year in review is like it's like a personal accounting or a final accounting. It's a taking stock of your life. And like I said, it's just very easy to label 2020 as an awful year. We hated it. There was a lot of awful things going on, you know, coronavirus, the elections, the violence and protests in the US. And we just want to put it behind us and forget about it. But we need to take time to reflect on the year, because I can guarantee you that despite how awful you thought the year was, there were a lot of good things that probably happened. And there were a lot of happy memories that you had. And so in the midst of all of the awfulness, you don't want to forget the good. So this form, which you walk through, will give you time to celebrate the good, the memories, the things you accomplished, the people that helped you along the way, the people who affected you or moved you, what were your hits and misses. It's sort of a walk back through the years. It's a look back over the last 12 months, 365 days, 4 seasons. There was a lot going on, but we want to celebrate the good that happened. So I would encourage you to take your time working through this form. Don't be discouraged. You know, it'll ask you things like your 3 best things that happened to you last year, your 3 greatest memories, what were the 3 worst things, what were the 3 goals you hit, what were 3 goals you missed, what lessons did you learn from the worst things? Because one of the things that I have learned is that while we need to be grateful for all the good things, we also need to be grateful for sort of the bad things, because there's always a lesson to be learned.
Absolutely.
In the bad things that happened. There's always some way to grow from the bad things that happened to us.
And I think one of the things, it sounds as Katie is saying these things, it could come across that there's a lot, but actually this is a 1-page form. It's not 2 pages, it's a single page form. But what it answers you are things that makes you stop and think. And therefore it might take you a little bit more time, if you're honest with yourself, to go through. And if you're being comprehensive in your review as well. If you're being cursory, it won't take you long. But if you truly really want to peel all those pieces together and encapsulate it in one central spot that you can look at, then it will take you a little bit of time, but it's really 1 page. Now, where can you find this page? In the same Facebook group that I called out before. So if you go into the Facebook group and go to units, you will be able to download the form. And then there's a little quiz there just for fun. We were trying out how to set up quizzes for future for future units and things of that nature. So it's a little bit of a strange quiz in terms of how it's not supposed to rate you, but it tries to give you a rating. Don't worry about that. The questions are all that's important. And you can do it or not do it. It's nothing needed, but the year in review is the one that we definitely would like you to try and do. And then when we come back in our session at the end of the month, then we will then look at what you've done. And if you can post some things in the Facebook group or questions to get engaged with us, that would be wonderful. Now, Sheila, in the chat, yes, life happens for you, not to you. Exactly. Even the bad stuff. And I think Katie called out that important fact that we really need to be grateful for the good and the bad. And in fact, if you look at the marble exercise, you need to be grateful for every single day that we get. And we need to maximize that day and just live in gratitude. And it doesn't matter whether the day is good or bad. Let's just be grateful we have a day. So there you go. Over to you again, Katie.
Okay. Like Jen said, take your time working on it. And I'll tell you this is probably one of the reasons why we separate our inspiration call from our accountability call, is that we want to give you time to work on the homework and to consider things. Now, I'll tell you this year in review, I mean, this is all it is, right? It's a very short, but I don't sit down. I can't, I've done this twice now, and I can't sit down and like zip it off, because sometimes, we have a tendency to forget the good stuff that happens to us. We have a tendency to forget the people that are important to us or that affected us in some way. As humans, we have a tendency to get stuck on the bad, right? We remember all the awful stuff, but we're trying to flip that mindset. So sometimes if it says your 3 best memories, okay, when I first start out, I can remember 1, and then I have to tell myself, okay, I know in the entire 365 days, there was more than one good thing. I had more than one good memory from an entire year. So I have to sit and think about it. And maybe at night as I get in bed and I'm laying there before I go to sleep, I'll remember, oh yeah, I totally forgot about that day, or I totally forgot about that person. So the idea is to take your time working on it. Don't get discouraged, because let me tell you this, my first time going through this, when it asked about the goals, what 3 goals you hit and what 3 goals you missed, I couldn't answer them because I hadn't set any goals, right? Because I was coming into this all new, and I was new to the whole idea of sitting down and planning out your year and planning out goals and things that I wanted to get accomplished. Now, maybe you're like Jen, and you're one of those people that has everything sort of mapped out and, basically locked and loaded. I'm not one of those, right? I may have thoughts throughout the year. That'd be kind of a nice thing to do, but do I write it down? No. Do I put a date on it? No. Not until now. Now I do. But the first time I went through this, I just had big fat zeros on those questions, because I thought, what 3 goals did I hit? Well, none, because I didn't set any. What 3 goals did I miss? Well, none, because I didn't set any. So don't get discouraged by that, because that was me a year ago. And my work for looking back on 2020, again, took me a little bit of time, because I had to think back and remember what were the 3 best things that happened. What were my 3 memories that I had, my 3 best memories. I had a lot of awful memories, and I thought, okay, no, I'm not doing that. No, I want good memories. So, work through it. Don't get discouraged. Because, the idea of this is positivity, it's gratitude, it's, we're not looking to get stuck in the bad. We're looking to help you get awesome, right? So we've got a brand new year ahead of us, and we're going to walk you through this year. We're going to walk you through all these things, setting goals, what blocks you, what can accelerate you, what moves you. And if there's something in particular, like Jen said, that you want us to talk about, or you want us to delve into deeper, by all means, please let us know, because, we're here to help. We're here to guide. We're here to inspire. We're here to help hold you accountable. And this is really, while we may have plans, this is really your show, not our show, Right, Jen?
Yep. And one of the things when we talk about the year, and Katie, as Katie mentions, I have been doing goal setting for umpteen years. I mean, over 20 years. So and one of the things that I've said, and I love how Katie and I are a good blend, because many times we're opposing, so I've done some things because I'm much more, I've done it for a while and I've been planning goals while Katie goes, and I'm not like Jen. I was not like that. I'm getting like that, but I'm not. So I think we complement each other really, really well. I did not do the year in review. I will be doing it, however, because I asked you guys to, and I have my own personal motto that I don't ask people to do something I don't do myself. But what I did instead, that I always do, and I had done, and I posted it, and I've set it up for my own personal set, is a vision board. So every year I do a vision board, and I had mine done and waiting until January 1st. And on January 1st, I replaced my desktop and everything with my vision board. So that is another way as well. If if writing becomes a challenge for you, and maybe you can cut out pictures. One, it's fun. I don't use the magazines anymore. I actually go and I find pictures and everything that represents what I want my vision board or what is important to me. But however you do it, that's another thing that you can do as well. But I'm going to do the year in review, so I want you to do it with us. And my commitment is I will do that as well, so we can discuss it in our accountability call.
Hey, Jen, do you want to talk about what the year 2021 stands for?
Well, so one of the things that I have also been following for quite some time is the Chinese horoscope, or the Chinese, I'm going to call it the Chinese horoscope. And the reason I followed it, I'm not so much, a big thing on the psychic aspects of things, but certainly I find the Chinese horoscope have stayed pretty consistent in its predictions and everything. And there's a long history of it. Well, what was interesting, and I'll tell you the story in a sec, is that 2020 started out the 12-year cycle of their horoscope, because it follows 12 years and then it starts again. Last year was the beginning of the 12 years with the rat. So last year was the year of the rat. This year is going to be the year of the oxen, or the ox. And and what's great about that is, if you look at what the Chinese do, is all of the different animals that the years represent, they all have characteristics. And they use those characteristics along with astronomy and all of these types of different things to do predictions. But what is wonderful about the year of the ox is that the ox is one of those considered to be a very reliable, sturdy, hardworking animal. And so the essence of the year follows that. And what it suggested is that if you work really hard this year, you will reap great rewards. And so it's something you can look up, and you can just, even out of interest, because that's how mine started. And then because it was so consistent, I continued to follow it. And one of the things is to look and see what year you were born and what animal you represent and how it works with the oxen. And there's also different, whether you are metal oxen and air oxen, there's all sorts of different characteristics that go around with that. But the fact, I think the main essence still is that if you are hardworking and you put a lot of effort into something you want this year, you will reap the rewards of it. And that's the general gist. Now, that starts on February 12th. And in our next month, we'll be celebrating the new year again from a Chinese perspective. And really, I'll delve a lot more into this. But I want to tell you the funny story, because I think we can, when I tell it to you, you'll kind of go, because it gives the essence of 2020. So the emperor when they were naming all the 12 animals and all of that, the way they decided which animal became the first year, second year, third year or not was through a race. And the oxen was leading and was heading to first place. And the rat came up and begged for a ride. And the good nature, really nice oxen decided to give him a ride. So he jumped on the back of the oxen, and just before hitting the line to cross into the winning position, the rat jumped down and ran across the finish line, and that's how the rat became to start the 12-year cycle. And he became in number 1, and the ox became number 2. But it starts to give you a sense of why 2020 was one of those years that were just like, am I for real? Is this for real? Is this really happening? Are we kidding right now? Because that tricks, the tricking aspect of the rat and the devious nature of it. So you can laugh at that. I've always found it a wonderful story. And so we'll talk about it more next month. But that is the story, Katie, of what year it is. So I want people to really commit to themselves, because you're not committing to me and Katie. Commit to yourselves and work hard towards whatever aspirations you have, small or large. Just start to tick them off. And the year in review form starts that process.
Great. And we're going to walk you through. We're going to be with you side by side the rest of this year. Like I said, we have mapped this out. But by the same token, if there's something you all need, we are always willing to shift and add and course correct.
Exactly.
Because this is something that's near and dear to our hearts, and we want to be able to give to you all and help you all grow and help you all get awesome. And that's sort of why Jen and I actually met through a virtual world summit. A Tony Robbins virtual world summit, where there were so many people that they, arranged us in like rooms, and we were in room 25, and that's how we met, was in our Zoom rooms. And Jen has done a lot of fascinating things, and she was really fascinated by ULA because I am a certified ULA life coach, and I recently became a certified ULA Green Gap coach, which is coaching people with their finances. And she became sort of fascinated by the whole concept of ULA. So that's sort of why we're doing this, because her philosophy sort of melds really well with ULA. And so a lot of the stuff we share will be from the ULA perspective, and Jen will be chiming in with her perspective as it pertains to our topic that we're talking about. So again, thanks for joining us. I know Jen's excited to know. Jen knows that I'm just like absolutely over the moon.
It is very exciting to see this come to fruition, especially, and I know it started as a seed where I'm watching Katie, and at one point I had interviewed her on my podcast, and I could, the more I talked to Katie, I was just floored by how much our philosophies and viewpoint on life melded. And so I think we're such just great compliments, as I said before, to each other, to our views. And I'm looking forward to this year in just working with Katie and just driving everything that we believe in outward, right? And again, I say it's an outward push, and seeing you guys hopefully just embrace it and get on the bandwagon. And as the show starts to pick up steam, I can't wait to hear or see the chat of how people feel they're being transformed. And so we'll see. Join the Facebook group. Sheila wants you to explain the ULA concept. So go to town, Katie.
ULA is the framework for living your life in balance in 7 key areas: fitness, finance, family, field, which is your career, faith, friends, and fun. So that's basically it. If you're living a life of balance in those areas, you're living an ULA life. And ULA actually comes from sort of the French phrase of ooh la la that you heard Jen say at the beginning. They just took the ooh la la, like living an ULA life is, what would you think that would be? It would be awesome. It would be like ooh la la, right? So they just sort of shortened it to ULA. And the ULA guys have 3 books out there. ULA, Living a Life of Balance in an Unbalanced World, ULA for Women, and ULA for Christians. And they are currently working on their Green Gap, their finance. And I don't know what they're going to title it, ULA for Finance. I don't know what they're going to title it, but they're working on that. And they have a website, ULA.com, which is, open to the public. And they do a lot of Facebook Lives. As a matter of fact, this year, like us, only they go live for short little bursts, like every day of the week. Like Monday is Money Mondays, so they talk about money. Tuesdays is a Testimonial Tuesday. Wednesdays is Wellness Wednesdays. Thursdays is Thursday Thrive. So it's basically living a life of balance to make sure that you're not all work and no fun. You're not in debt, so it's not having a ripple effect on all the other areas. You're not having fitness issues, so again, it's not a ripple effect on all the other areas. Which, if any of these lives are out of balance, any of these areas of your life are out of balance, it can have a ripple effect on the other areas. Which again, it's fitness, finance, family, field, which is your career, faith, friends, and fun. Does that help? Because I can't see the chat.
Yeah. Sheila, does that help?
I'm scared to press my chat button.
She hasn't responded, but sometimes it takes... Okay, we'll see if Sheila responds as I look.
But that's basically ULA.
Yeah, she said, thank you, that helps. Love you, ladies. Go 25. All right, Sheila, we love you back.
Thanks, Sheila.
And there's someone in the chat that's coming up as Facebook because they haven't done the exercise to give Facebook. Yeah. So I'm not sure who it is, but if you look in the Facebook group, it would have been a recent post, probably the either the first or the second one going down in discussions, and it guides you on how you can end up showing up with your name properly rather than just a generic Facebook, because then we don't know who you are, and it's nice to see the name. I'm sure we know who you are, but we can't see it on the chat. So that's go ahead.
I was just going to say, when you click on that link in the post that Jen did, all it's going to do is and it'll take you like 5 seconds to do. And all it's doing is it's not downloading anything to your computer. It's just simply allowing us to see who it is, so we don't get the blue head that says Facebook user. We can see who the person is that's either asking the question or making the comment. So it's, I don't think it's anything to be concerned about. I was in another class and the instructor asked.
No, they did it though, Katie. It was Kevin. That's why I laughed. Oh. That's why I laughed, because you see the different reaction you got, Kevin, when I could see it was you. So much better, isn't it? So much more personable.
I know, when you just say there's an anonymous person.
Yeah, when I see Facebook user, I don't know who it is. But thanks for joining us. I'm really appreciative of that, actually. We both are. So that's fantastic.
Right. So here, I guess we're ready to close.
Yes.
Okay, so I will always close with be grateful, have faith, and go get your ULA life.
Excellent. Excellent. So we're going to try and keep the show like to no more than half an hour. In terms, I don't mind if the accountability call goes longer, because we're actually hopefully helping people in terms of what they're trying to accomplish. But for the setting of the lessons and all of that sort of stuff, we're going to try to keep it to half an hour to just get the message across, get you the support materials, explain what we're trying to do and accomplish with it. And if you have questions, we will absolutely answer those questions. So love you guys to death. Really appreciate it. And we are going to wrap up, right? Right, Katie.
Right.
Thank you. This was fun. I can't wait to do it. So when, Katie, do you remember when we're meeting? When the next show is? When is the accountability call? I believe it's the 26th. Am I right?
27th.
27th. Okay.
Wednesday the 27th. They're always Wednesdays at 8 p.m. and first Wednesday of the month and last Wednesday of the month.
Okay, excellent. So we're going to wrap it. Have a good night. Thank you for joining us. And it's a wrap.
Yay!